Right, this isn't quite working out how I thought, because the orientation, I normally like to do it in landscape, as you know, but it's only letting me do it in portrait at the moment, and my little holding device here isn't kind of set up for that, so I'm just trying to get the phone sorted out here so sorts itself out. Hang on a minute, it's going to be a bit crooked. Oh, come on. Right, let's drop that down a little bit. So that's a bit annoying, and I'm going to be crooked on this one, so apologies for that, but I'll work out how this can actually go in sort of landscape mode. Anyway, this is my first ever live show, and I'm doing this as an experiment because I was talking to a lady this morning who wants to set up a YouTube channel. More on that in a bit, but she was saying, well, you know, I want to sort of do it live some of the time at least, and I couldn't really advise her on that because I didn't know how to do it myself. But so I thought I'd just do this as an experiment, and a little bit nerve-wracking, but I think it was Eleanor Roosevelt who said you should do something that scares you every day. So this is one of those things, so there we go. So basically I thought I'd just talk about things I normally talk about, really. So I don't know if you've seen the latest David Icke film. I'm on his mailing list, and I get notifications out, and he was actually on a video for about an hour and 20 minutes with none other than Rainer Fulmich, the heavyweight German lawyer. If you don't know him, you might recall that scandal with VW, Volkswagen, and their emissions thing where they were sort of fiddling their the computer systems to make their cars look like they're a lot more efficient and fuel efficient than they actually were. Well, he was one of the lawyers who kind of exposed that, helped to expose that. So very heavyweight guy, and the fact that he is giving time to David Icke now, just that's got to tell you something. Yeah, David's attracting the attention of these very serious heavyweight people. Of course, Reiner, he's been an absolute stalwart himself, hasn't he, in the freedom movement for a good couple of years now, a good few years, and he's hopefully making inroads. But anyway, if you haven't seen that video, go to David Icke's site, which I think is just davidicke.com, and it will probably be more or less one of the first videos you see there. I'm not sure how to leave a link under here on these live ones, so you'll probably just have to go and watch it there, but it's a worthwhile one watching. And one of the things David was saying is, if you're in any one given space, you're looking around a room like this, well, what you see and perceive isn't everything that's going on in that room. There's a lot more on other dimensions and that kind of thing. And the way he compared it to if you're watching TV, not that I do very much of that these days, but let's say you're watching ITV and you decided to switch over to BBC One. Well, when you switch it over, the ITV waves haven't disappeared, have they? They're still in the room. You just can't see that because your TV is now tuned to BBC One. And that's exactly how he describes our perception of reality, and then there's these other entities, these other realities that are just out of our sight, because we're not tuned into them, but that doesn't mean they're not there. So fascinating stuff, and he obviously talks about a lot of other things to Reiner as well. So a well worth one to watch, I'd say there. So now David Icke, he's an interesting character, isn't he? I first became aware of him many years ago. A friend who was a lot more into sport than I was saying, oh yeah, he used to be a sports commentator, but he just appears to have gone mad, basically, and he's coming out with all of this weird stuff. And I never really thought too much of it. I thought sort of, poor guy, basically. And as years went by, I just thought of him, if the name ever came up in conversation, oh yeah, he's that conspiracy guy. And I didn't think too much more about him than that, really, until we get to April of 2020, of course. And it's the first lockdown. I've got time on my hands, and I'm watching things on YouTube. And this guy who I kind of knew of before, Brian Rose, he's kind of a fairly wealthy businessman, and he was talking about things like Brexit beforehand, before 2020, and that sort of thing. And yeah, I just sort of saw him pop up in my YouTube feed, and he said, just give us 10 minutes, give us 10 minutes of your time. And of course I had time on my hands in that first lockdown, although most of the time I was pretty busy with my work. The first few weeks, no one wanted the likes of me and other tradespeople in their homes, so I was a bit quiet, so I had plenty of time. So I watched, I think it was the Rose Icke #2. I think they did one a bit earlier in about February, but this is April, #2. And I watched that, and expecting to basically see a madman. But when I saw David speaking, I thought, this bloke's not mad, he's not insane. In fact, he's actually talking a lot of sense. It was quite a revelation to me. And then I watched the other Rose Icke interviews, and it was one of the things, not the only thing of course, but one of the things that really kick-started my awakening back there in 2020. And I was only very vaguely, well, I wouldn't say I was awake, I was vaguely aware that things weren't quite right in the world beforehand, but never really looked into it too much. But yeah, 2020 was the pivot point for me, and that was one of the things that kick-started it. And David Icke said, I'm not sure if it was in the second interview or one of them anyway, it was probably the April one, and it was definitely during the first lockdown, and he said this won't be the only lockdown, there will be more, there'll be a second one, a third one, and if people let it, loads of them, probably in a sort of kind of an indefinite basis. And I was a little bit sceptical at the time, or more wishful thinking, I hope he's wrong on that one. But of course, what happens later on in 2020? Yeah, the second lockdown, the third lockdown, and probably more lockdowns had it not been for the pushback that the government was starting to get. So that kind of blew my mind. I thought, blimey, he knows things and sees things, so he's a man to pay attention to, clearly. So ever since then, I've watched his stuff, not all of it, I don't watch him every week or anything like that, but if I see an interesting thing come up in my emails, which he sends a weekly email to me with his latest uploads, and certainly when they catch my eye as being particularly interesting, I'll take a look. And this one with Reiner Fuelmic definitely was that, so well worth watching that if you got time. It goes on for about an hour and 20 minutes, something like that. So in my last interview, I was talking about a lady called Anthea Finch, who is this pain-free lady. Just get rid of that. There's trouble with doing these videos on the phone. It pops up with all kinds of weird things. But anyway, Anthea Finch, the pain-free lady, her videos now on my Rumble channel and on my website, and it's the main interview. I did say I was going to put a trailer on here. Haven't got around to that yet, but that's in the process, and hopefully that'll be coming up later on, later on this evening with a bit of luck. So look out for that. Anyway, the weekend was interesting. I went up to Nuneaton again. I think I mentioned this in my last video, to basically film and record an interview with Clive de Carle, the sort of health guy, and he was being interviewed by none other than Richard Phobes, and I recorded that, and that should be coming again in a couple of days' time. I've got a lot of videos now to edit and upload, so give me a bit of time, but they will all be done by hopefully Wednesday, Thursday. And if you were there at that talk in Nuneaton, what a great venue it was. A place called Upton Barn, lovely little place, ideal for these sort of talks. And it was great to meet you, if you were there. And the full talk will be on my website. As I say, probably Wednesday that will be done by, maybe by the end of tomorrow, but I'll make one of these daily videos and tell you all about that as and when it's ready to go, and then I'll give you the link and you can go over and see it. So it was an interesting talk anyway, and if you weren't there, again, I'll let you know when it's on. And yeah, we had a good, I think it's about an hour and a half they were talking to each other and revealing some very interesting stuff indeed. So a little bit of a teaser, I won't go into too much more about that. Now Nuneaton from here is about 3.5 hours up there, so I spent the best part of 7 hours over the weekend on the UK Motorway network, which is, as I've said in previous videos, is a great place to learn how not to drive. And honestly, the crazy things you see people doing. What is the whole thing where you're sort of going along in the middle lane maybe, and sort of, going to sort of go past traffic in a slower lane, and then someone comes flying up on inside of you at a crazily fast speed, way faster than you, and then they've got nowhere to go, and because there's cars in front of me, and they have to then slam on before hitting the thing in front of them, and you're thinking, what was that all about? And honestly, it's just absolutely ridiculous, isn't it? And then when they do think they've got enough of a space, a crazily small space, they'll swing out, almost causing an accident. And I'm sure these many accidents that you do have to sort of drive through on the motorways is caused by people doing that kind of thing. But anyway, that's the motorways for you these days. And it used to be, if you used to see someone doing that kind of thing, it was very much a rarity. So much so it'd stick out, and you'd sort of get home and say to Lorraine or your wife, kind of thing, oh, you never guess what I saw. But because it'd be so unusual in days gone by, but it's so common now. And I saw that when I was going up to Nuneaton and back at least a dozen times, probably more. Just absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, so as I say, getting back to the the Rumble videos, the weekend videos, and to new subscribers here, if you've just joined me, so you can see Clive de Gaule's talk, we talked yesterday, or you were there yesterday. I do have to take certain precautions because of this platform. The censorship is crazy, and I have to, put cut down edited versions on here and the full version on Rumble. So that's why that happens. And I'll often also talk in kind of code words to try and get around this issue as well. It's one of those things, it shouldn't have to happen, but that's the world we live in, and that's the world that the likes of you and me are trying to change, of course. So, what else was I going to talk about? I just come back about an hour ago, having interviewed a lovely lady called Dodd. Now, if you don't know her, she's the lady who set up and organises the Uprise and Shine events that I've talked about a lot on this channel in the past, and also she set up something called the Freedom Network. This was all done very early on in the scam-demic, and when she sort of thought this is all crazy, she decided to start doing something about it. And I thought I'd go down and interview her, see what she's all about, why she set those things up, how she set them up. And we had a very, very interesting talk indeed. So that will be on after I've edited the other two things I've talked about. So probably Thursday that might be on, hopefully a bit earlier than that. So do look out for that. And one thing she talks about in the interview is she's in the process right now of setting up a YouTube channel. She's going to be calling it Wise Women Weekdays, I believe is the name of the channel. And it's going to be sort of loosely based on that TV show, Loose Women, whatever channel that's on. And she's going to be having guests in there, and also sort of regular ladies who will be sort of sitting on the panel kind of thing, just like Loose Women. Not that I really watch that programme. I have seen it when I'm working in people's houses, so I look over at the TV and see all of these women sitting around this desk. So I do know what the programme is, although I've never properly watched it. But this is going to be loosely based on that. And it's not really going to be about truth and freedom stuff. She's very much of the opinion, Karen, is that some of us, or all of us even, need to start moving out of our kind of echo chambers and start trying to appeal to a wider audience, sort of people who at the moment either don't suspect there's anything wrong, or perhaps have a deep down feeling there might be something wrong, but haven't really come across anything to do with the truth and freedom movement as yet. And I think the idea behind this Wise Women Weekdays channel is she's going to get it on, and they're going to be talking about just general stuff, current affairs, pretty much the same kind of thing as they do on Loose Women, I suppose, all of that kind of thing. But she's going to sort of sow, or she and the other ladies are going to sort of just plant the odd seed here and the odd seed there, so that the viewers can go, oh yeah, I did wonder about that. Let's go and look that up a little bit online, and hopefully through this thing wake up more people. And I think it's a fantastic idea. When she starts it up, I'll probably be one of her earliest or first subscribers. I will be, and I'll promote it on this channel when that goes live. She said it's going to be up and running in a week or two, so pretty imminent. And that's why I'm doing this, because she wants to do some of these her talks live, so that it goes out live, and she can kind of get it out there almost like a proper sort of TV program, really. So it should be good, and hopefully, if this works, I can then give her a bit of advice. But I don't know what's happened with this phone or orientation. I've got it all wonky, so I've got a bit of perfecting to do. But it seems to be quite easy if you know how to produce content on YouTube. I think if you've got the account, there's a little circle with a cross in the bottom, and you push that. And then there's 3 options. One just to upload a video, but the second or third one is to go live, and you just push that, and then there's a couple of things you go through, and then you just hit record or whatever it is, or go live, and you're on, really. Although I don't know how to actually turn it off. I haven't worked that out yet, so when this comes to an end, I might be sort of pressing all sorts of things, and you'll see me cursing away until this thing actually ends. But that is really why I've decided to go live today. And the good thing is you can see some comments as they come up on the screen here. So I've got let's have a look here. It's my eyesight, I can't quite see. Got Stephen Truthseeker. It will have to get worse for the sheeple to become aware. It's definitely something in that, a lot in that. And certainly as far as people who are sort of completely asleep, I think what Karen wants to do is kind of target the ones who are almost there. They're kind of they would be awake, but they haven't sort of come across the resources to get them fully awake. So I think it's those people on the cusp she's targeting more than the ones who are totally asleep. That's probably what she's aiming for. Simon Webb, lots of people are cowards, and it's easier for them to pretend everything is okay. That's sort of definitely it's head in the sand, ostrich with its head in the sand mentality. And I've been there. There's been times when I've thought, you know what, I'd rather just go back to sleep. I'd pack up this channel and go back to sleep. I've got to confess that I've thought that at times, but you have to keep soldiering on. But I suppose some people just don't want to do that, and we're all different. We've all got our different sort of mindsets, haven't we? Vincent Submarines Mo. Hello, Tim. Hello. And I believe you kind of like to go on certain wintering travels, so at this time of year, or more or less this time of year. So hopefully you've got that coming up again, scuba diving, etc. So good luck with that if you're going to go away again. Truth over lies. Pull the other one, Stephen. You're clearly an Icke fan. I'm Tim, not Stephen, but I'm not really an Icke fan. I wouldn't say. I listen to his stuff, and some of it's quite mind blowing. But I certainly don't listen to him every week or even every month sometimes. I think he's an interesting guy personally. Alphabet Cat. It's very hard trying to convert the normies, but I still think you have to keep trying. Yeah, very much so. And that's obviously what Karen thinks as well, which is why she's setting up that new channel of hers. Oh, here we go, Vincent again. 6 weeks to go, Tim. Viva Mexico. Yay. Yeah, brilliant stuff. I wish I could do that, get away for the British winter. It's talking about winter. It's gone decidedly nippy, hasn't it? Here in the UK, or at least in the middle and southern part of the UK. And literally a few days ago on Friday, I was out just in a t-shirt. you know, which I thought this is pretty good actually. I'm still able to go outdoors in the morning with just a t-shirt and no jumpers or fleeces on or anything like that. And then just in the space of 2 days, it's gone freezing cold, and I've got the t-shirt now and the jumper and the fleece on top of that. So yeah, it's just suddenly turned, and I've got a feeling, I know I like to be an optimist, but I've got a horrible feeling that it might be a sort of a cold winter this year. I've got this theory that if you have a good summer with lots and lots of hot weather, it kind of warms everything up and the seas around the country up, and then as we get into winter, that kind of almost acts as a jacket around the country to keep things from getting too cold. But if you have a poor summer with not a lot of hot weather at all, which is what we've had this summer, it hasn't been great, has it really? Just had the odd week here, week there of warmish weather, but not a lot. So I don't think things will have warmed up quite as much as they need to if we're going to have a mild winter. So we might have a harsh winter. Could be right, could be wrong on that. I'm just totally theorising there, as I like to do. So, but yeah, I've just got that feeling, Anyway, let's just have another couple of look here, another couple of comments, should I say. Hi to all in the chat, Belfast. Hello, Belfast. Sort of nice to see you here. And Mark Austin, hi Tim. They have hammered the skies here today with chemtrails, North Shropshire. Yeah, that's definitely a factor, I should think, as well. Anyway, I've been waffling on long enough here. Oh, it's coming up for half an hour actually. So, Lorraine's just come into the room. This is a live thing, so
Fancy schmancy.
Yeah, do you want to come in and say hello to the guys and girls?
Hello.
There she is. Hello.
Good to see. Well, good to see that you're all there.
Yeah, that's it.
So, mate, do you want a coffee?
Yeah. She'd make me a coffee as well. So I'm going to come off here. I'm going to have a coffee, and I thought I've got myself a little treat for having done my first live, and it's one of these, a Garuda Ting Ting, which is actually a little sweetie from Indonesia. Someone we know has just come back from there fairly recently and brought a bag of Indonesian sweeties back, and these are kind of really nice peanutty flavour. They kind of really melt in the mouth, and they're not bad. So a little treat for me with that coffee. So with that, I'm going to leave it. So Tim from Fair Play now, thanks for watching, and we're just going to see how we turn this thing off now. Is that little cross?